Hey there folks, I'm back with another Malcom stage demo, this time by Calvin Tan, shows how to use AK Gen 3 acrylics for miniature painting. Before you get into it, make sure to check out my new artist series that I launched, Harem Volume 1. It is in collaboration with TY.com, who designed and sculpted the first in this series. It's a beautiful sculpt that comes in 75mm scale and fully resin casted miniature. It comes with two options where you display without the legs themselves, and the pre-orders are now open with shipping to begin in October. And as with all our releases, they come in high quality resin casts packed in a premium packaging where the casts do not even need any cleanup. All you have to do is paint and assemble. And this being a limited edition release, make sure to grab yours in the link in the description below. Feathers and Steel series Kunoichi is actually in stock and shipping right now. So if you would like to grab that, feel free to do it as well. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get this party started.
So today what I'm going to do, as the title does suggest, is I'm going to show you guys how to work with AK paints. Just on a side note, no, I'm not getting paid by AK to do this. This is something that is I personally believe in. And for this presentation, I think it's great because I want to give you guys some pointers in terms of how to use some of the wonderful AK products that they have out there to help you solve some of your everyday problems that you may encounter during painting. Okay, so let's not waste any time. Okay, let's make sure our ducks are all in a row before we start. Okay, let's see, we have everything. All right, thank you guys for your patience. All right, so without further ado, let's begin. Right, so up on the big screen, you can see basically, right, what we're going to do today, we'll try to cover a bit of the torso, the uniform, as well as the head, and possibly the helmet as well. So, it seems like we're going to cover a couple of things. So I'm going to show you how easy it's going to be working with the AK acrylics. Now, I have basically under the AK brand a signature personal mixes but I've helped to advise in terms of composing a set of German colors. Now, although we are working together today with an American subject, which is the 101st Airborne Bazooka Gunner, I can also show you that, you know, colors can also, from this German set, can also be applied. So it is not limited to as what the set suggests that you should use this for German subjects. You too can also use it with great effect for even US subjects as well. So for me, my favorite go-to, what do you call that, paint receptacle reservoir would be the, what do you call that, blister packs. Okay? These are supplements, nothing to do with anything in the bedroom. These are supplements. So I like to make that up clear, very, very clear. It is in no indictment on my virility out there, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so we get that clear out of the way. Okay, so I know that's a very low thing to say, but hey, since that's the low point of this presentation, ladies and gentlemen, and I can assure you from this point onwards, it will pick up. I hope, I hope. Okay, so let's get started. Today I'm also going to show you guys, apart from using the Gen 3 AK paints, AK Gen 3 paints, Gen 3 is suggesting that this series of paints have gone through the third iteration, which means it's the third improvement, all right, of this formula. And currently I think it's very popular worldwide. And also, that's very new. Also, these two new fantastic products, which are the markers for AK. Now, I'm going to show you how wonderful it is later. All right, when we start to paint the torso. So let's begin. Okay, I'm going to get some black paper here. This is going to help me, assess the opacity of the paint, and that's what I'm always used to. Okay. So I'm left-handed, but I'm sure if you're right-handed, you can also do the same as well. Just flip. Okay, let's begin with the face. So for the face, right, I'm going to do is I'm just going to go straight and use this the colors from the Flesh and Skin set. Okay, so it's very easy. If you never painted flesh tones before, just buy this set. That will give you all the main colors that you really need. Now, the main color we're going to use for this particular part of the bust would be light flesh. Okay, and we're going to combine it together with another paint, right, which is actually the basalt gray. Okay, right here. And as well as another addition is clear red. Now I'm going to show you guys, this is something very bizarre. Because clear red has, I think it's underutilized, it's a very underutilized product in the whole entire range. So I'm going to show you what you're going to do with this, okay? Because it's going to potentially be a game changer for some of you guys. All right, so we're going to start with these three colors first. Okay, we're going to start with these three colors. Now, prior to this demonstration, you can see that the paint is, as you can see, it lacks a bit of a sheen. That's the reason because I primed it with matte varnish. In this case, I used an lacquer-based matte varnish, all right, to establish the, to create, or rather to establish a matte surface. Now, the reason for establishing a matte surface is such that the paint has a porous surface to adhere on. And the use of the enamel is, or rather lacquer, is because lacquer has a very strong adhesive quality. So the paint would stick better onto this surface, especially on this resin surface. So now what I did basically is, very simple, nothing more than some East Asian ingenuity using disposable chopsticks. All right, drilling a hole, just plug it in. So it's a bit like a skewer. You can see we can skewer it here. I find this method of this very, very sophisticated method of mounting the head very convenient because you can sort of rotate in all angles, and it's very, very inexpensive. Okay, simple but very effective. Okay, likewise for any other items as well. Okay. You can drill a hole, plug it in, you got the skewer, and then place it aside. And you can have hands-free. And also you can always detach it and, fit it onto the model and whatsoever. So, as you can see, it can be like, making lock. Basically, we're going to lock everything. You can see now. Okay, lock and load. All right, let's begin. Okay. So, word on brushes, I use a variety of brushes, but mainly most of them are basically round brushes with a very sharp tip. This is important. Okay? This is a Chinese calligraphy brush, relatively inexpensive. Those of you coming from mainland China, even Taiwan, you can actually find this in any of the calligraphy shops that sell all the calligraphy, paraphernalia. You can get that from that. Any Chinese shop that stocks Chinese, paraphernalia. Okay, it's very tight. Okay. All right, I have a cheap, very, very inexpensive saber brush from this brand called Nevskaya Palitra. It's from Russia. Okay. All right, so let's get that out of the way. So first things first, we're going to establish a base color for this. Now, a bit of basalt gray. So now it's almost like a cooking program. Okay, a dash of basalt gray and clear red. Now the reason why I'm using clear red is because I want to introduce a degree of transparency. Now to get realistic skin tones, it's also very important that we establish some transparency, introduce some transparency into the paint. Now, the good thing about the Gen 3 acrylics is that they are very opaque. But it's also one of the drawbacks. It's too opaque. But nonetheless, you can always reduce the opacity by adding a bit of clear red and sometimes also introducing a bit of the ultra matte varnish to thin it down. Now, a bit about this later, but now we are going to just apply the first layer. What we want to do now with this color is to establish where the dark areas are and where the highlights are going to be. So this allows the surface to be much easier to read so that you will know where to place the midtones and the highlights. All right, so first things first, we're going to, someone's having a hernia. All right, I'm sorry, please seek medical attention. Chris, please ensure that gentleman is in agony. Seek the required attention. Okay, all right, okay. Now, back to the demonstration proper. All right, so clear red, basalt gray, we're going to mix it together. We're going to see that you're going to get like a very grayish magenta, like almost like a brown, right about here. Now, what I'm doing right now is I'm diluting it with a bit of water. Now, I want to show you something because it's very important for you to know. Water tends to bead, and it's going to create some problems because, all right, when water beads, it's going to cause what? Watermarks. And that's a big problem because almost like 70% of the time, people are fixing watermarks when you thin with water. As you can see right now, as I get the right dilution, as it dries, notice what happens. You get the tide marks appearing. Not good. Not good at all. So what do we do? Well, in order to avoid watermarks, you use something else instead of water. What do we do? We use the thinner. So this thinner is basically alcohol-based. IPA is a bit of LPA based in it, LPA composite. So what we want to do, all right, instead of thinning with water, we'll thin it with the thinner. The thing about thinner is that it scatters the paint evenly, and it allows the paint to flow more homogeneously. So now, right now, if you're looking at this side here, you can see tide marks are starting to appear. So those of you who have always habitually thinned your paint with water, you will notice this sort of phenomenon happens. So don't worry about this. We're going to let this set, and we're going to work with the mistake. All right? Remember, there are no accidents, only happy accidents, all right? No mistakes, only happy accidents. So we're going to do thin with the thinner. This is AK thinner. Now, the thing is this, the misnomer is that people always regard this as something to use with the airbrush. Not entirely true. It is a very, very useful medium for hand painting as well. Now, those of you who are very familiar with working with oils and enamels, you find that by adding this thinner to the paint, it will transform acrylics into, guess what? Enamel paint. All right, now we can take this and we drive it and we sort of, push it. You can let it flow very, very evenly. All right, so on this half, you can see I'm just going to just wash it in, and what it does is that what we want to do is we want to allow the paint to flow into the recesses. That's what we want to do. Now, where the paint pools and gathers, deposits, that is going to give us a preliminary impression of where the shadows are going to be. It's very easy. All right. Now, remember this. Okay, we are going to let the thinner do the work. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now here, repeat after me. Let the thinner do the work. One more time, ladies and gentlemen, can I hear from you guys? Let the thinner do the work. 1, 2, 3, come. One more time. Wonderful. Wow, you guys go to the football stadiums quite often, huh? To cheer for your favorite team. Wonderful. Great. I've got a lot of sports fans out here. See, now notice what happens here as we still use the thinner. Notice the spread of paint. Very different. Watermarks here, which is a big no-no. This, on the other hand, you notice how even it flows. Look at the boundaries there. All right? It's very even. All right? And that's because we are using the what? To do the work. Yes, let the thinner do the work. So here you can see we're going to just let it flow. All right, adding a bit more thinner. So you can actually use the thinner. Basically, you can transform the acrylic into enamel and perform the pin washers. So isn't that fantastic? And that's what we are actually doing here. Now I'm going to move very slowly because the faster I move, I'm going to create bubbles. You can see that as you move you can see as I move very rapidly, you notice what's happening. You'll get bubble time. Nope, this is not a bath. This is a wash. We're going to take this nice and slow. All right, we're going to take it nice and slow. Okay, if there's one thing you need to understand from the end of today's demonstration is that we are going to move slow to go fast. Move slow to go fast. That's what we are doing. Okay, it's an oxymoron, but okay, if you don't do it, you will be the moron. All right, that's what we're going to do today. Okay, now be warned, there will be a couple of dad jokes coming your way. All right, so if you have a adverse reaction to dad jokes, I advise you to vacate the premise. Okay, back to this again. All right, we are not going to do anything else more. We're going to just let the thinner do the work, scatter the paint. All right, very important. Now, another thing you also notice, all right, in this situation is that we are not actually, again, painting. Now, what we are doing essentially is we are actually pushing paint. All right, now understand that you are pushing the paint. And if you have a big brush, you can see a big loaded brush, I'm actually pushing the paint to where the shadows are because I've already been pre-informed by where the paint has deposited. And now I am using this information to push the paint into the shadows. And again, ladies and gentlemen, one more time, we are letting the thinner do the work. One more time, ladies and gentlemen. Let the thinner do the work. Exactly. All right, that is a mantra that you are going to, sprout from your mouth from today. You will sprout it out from your mouth. You're going to talk about this in your sleep. You're going to annoy your spouse. Well, at the end of the day, you will improve your modeling, ladies and gentlemen. So, all right, okay, so we're going to just push, and we're going to see how it scatters beautifully. All right? Okay, now you can see one thing very, very good about this, you can see from there, it's quite bright. You can see some remnants of a flesh tone emerging. And that is because of the yellow color resin from the color of the resin from Young Miniatures. It's combining together with this magenta color. You can see you get a very preliminary impression of the flesh tones coming out. Now, if you have very low standards, well, this will work perfectly for you. If you have low standards. Now, let's increase the standards. Let's say we are talking to a more discerning bunch of people here. Now, how can we move from here? Very simple, all right? Now, what I'm going to do now, we're going to pull this aside. We're going to let this set for a while. Okay, now we're not going to waste any time. I don't want to waste any of your precious time. You guys have flew here from far and wide. Now you want to see action happening, and the action is what I will deliver today, ladies and gentlemen. Now what we have here, you can see this is the uniform we talked about. Now I'm going to show you while the flesh is drying. All right, we put this aside. We're going to work with this. Now, AK markers. May sound very gimmicky. Well, I thought so too initially until I tried this. Now, let me show you something. Now, whenever, for example, if we are going to start painting, what are we going to do? We're going to pick up, let's say, for example, a paint, right? And what do? We agitate the paint. Remember, this paint, right? We're going to agitate it. The sound of love. All right? Yeah, okay. Oops. Now, some of you guys are giving me a very cheeky smile. Obviously, you guys know what I'm talking about. The sound of love. All right? So, let's say we start to use, you can squeeze a bit of the paint out from here, agitate it, put it into the container here. Okay, now, and then what we do, we need to prepare the paint, adding a bit of water, adding a bit of thinner, all right, whichever, and we can start painting. All right, so on this half, let's say I'm going to start painting on this half. I will start to paint it like this, all right? Now, when you paint, notice that the paint doesn't flow if you're using water, all right? This is what we are familiar with, okay? You get bubbles and all this. Now, I'm going to show you the difference between the marker and the paint. Now, although I am promoting the Gen 3 paint, I'm also showing this wonderful product because I cannot resist sharing this to you guys, all right? I'm proclaiming that this is actually very, very good. Now, as this is setting and drying, you know, I'm going to show you how this wonderful tool works. Now, markers, this is a standard marker. You have the tip and you have the sides. Large areas, we can use the sides and we can push. Notice how even the paint goes. Now, the good thing about this marker, all right, is it's relatively scratch resistant. All right, of course, unless you will put in a lot of force, you will see the paint lifting. But by and large, it works almost like a roller. And it's one action, just uncap and use. Now, how convenient can that be, ladies and gentlemen? And you know what? No wastage. Because if you squeeze this much, you're not going to use all. And look at the coverage, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, cameraman, you can see, huh? Wonderful. Look at the coverage. Now, you are watching this live with your eyes. I'm not trying to hoodwink you. This is what it is. It is not an act of God. This is technology at its best, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I do know Mr. Ming has some of this at stock. Now, if you are convinced about what I'm seeing today, I do advise you to find means to get this because it will speed up your modeling time. All right, you will be able to get the results within a record time. Okay, I put my reputation on this. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Look at the difference, ladies and gentlemen. We are looking at this on the right, whereby you have the markers. And the thing about these markers is fantastic because it doesn't dry immediately, which means the paint has time to even out itself. All right, again, we just have to respect the material, the medium that you are using. You know? Okay, look at that. You see, you can see, look at the coverage. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this paint here has wonderful coverage and it's scratch resistant. Now, what we are effectively doing here is to not only base coat the model, but we are also priming the model, ladies and gentlemen. 2-in-1. Alright, if you guys in Penang, you've seen 3-in-1 coffee, well, this is also 2-in-1 primer and base coat in one. Look at this. Alright, and people will ask you, hey, did you airbrush this? No, I use a marker. Alright, and honestly, this is actually, for me, this is a miracle worker. Okay, it is extremely useful and extraordinary to use. Even your child can use it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, look at this. Right, large area like this, come on, you just need to push, go in a single direction, follow the crease as well, and just push. Won't worry too much because the paint will even out itself. Okay, unfortunately, I've been given a 3 o'clock time slot to do this presentation. It is a time where food coma starts to take effect. And I do apologize if I sound over-enthusiastic. Okay, look at that. This is hardly even dried yet. You look at this. And I've already covered the entire place, right? Primed. Now, while this is setting, all right, now we are like Master Chef, we are making starters and main dish at the same time. Okay, we can move this aside. Now let's look at how the face is doing. Is it drying nicely? All right, it's drying pretty well. Look at that, very nice and very even here. Okay, look at that. Okay, I'm not going to worry too much about that. Okay, now there are some imperfections here. I won't be too worried about that. Okay, again, take a bit of the paint. We can just push it. Now, at this stage, we have only established what you call it, a preliminary impression of where the shadows are. Now we are going into the second part, which is to get the base color. All right, we're going to get the base color. Again, light flash right about here. All right, the sound of love. Okay. Squeeze this a bit out. Now, what we're going to do, if you notice about the unique thing about flash tones is that there's transparency. The skin is not opaque. It's translucent. So in order to sort of, get the very translucent effect, is either you tint it with water, but you're diluting the paint. But what you want is you want to have a very translucent effect, and that's where the ultra matte varnish comes in. Right? This is ultimately going to change your game. All right? All right, agitate it. We're going to squeeze just maybe about 2 drops into this. Okay, now, and as I said, I'm going to just stir it right about here. Okay, and I'm going to just fill up the rest of the reservoir with the ultra matte varnish. Now I'm pretty generous with ultra matte varnish for one reason. We are going to use this as a painting medium. Okay, we're going to use this as a painting medium. You will see the difference. Okay, if you tint this with water, you're going to get tight marks. So what we're going to do subsequently, for all these layers here, we are going to use the bit of the ultra matte and we're going to combine it with the paint to create a translucent effect. So how do you assess the translucency? You can put it it's a bad habit for finger painters. You just paint it on your hand. You see how much to assess the coverage. Alternatively, you can also do it with a black piece of paper. Just pull and see how much it's going to cover. Okay? So what I'm doing right now, all right, now, for some beginners, they have difficulty trying to identify where to place your highlights. Okay, there's an easy trick to this. Just simply wet the surface and see where the highlight catches onto the surface. And you can use that as your map to map the midtones. Now, I'm going to go very slow now to explain to some of you guys. Okay, so if you can see, the reason why I'm using the chopsticks is because I can use this to rest on my wrist. And I can use this to cradle the paintbrush. Right? So there's a lot of stability here. Now, I don't really like to hold something thick and girty. I mean, it sounds dirty, but it's easier. You get something nice and thin. It's good because it gives you the maneuverability, all right, to paint the faces, the areas, to reach the areas. So what I'm doing right now, we're going to push the paint. Pushing the paint, basically. From here, we're going to push it down nice and slow, all the way to the tip here, and lift. Now, if you notice something, we are leaving a very faint trail along this bridge here, and we are landing at the ball here. Now, what happened is that I stopped for a while. And there's a reason for me stopping. It's such that the paint has enough time to rest and group. And when I lift it, you can see the paint deposits right about here. So same thing as well, I can take from here, I can take this, push it up, come to the point here, hold it, and lift. Notice the paint starts to collect, that's where the highlight is going to be. We can start to repeat this process. And you can see that's where the highlights are going to be. So you can push it in all directions, all right, until it accumulates to the point that you want it to accumulate. Now we are going very slow. You can see I'm using the side of the brush as well. I can sweep very slowly to the highlight, let it hold and lift. I can push it downwards to get the reflection, let it push, hold and lift. Now, the initial, effect is going to be very faint. Now, the thing is that you have to be patient. That's the very important thing in terms of the results. If you're going to get a smooth transition, you got to be pretty patient. You got to make sure that the base color dries completely before applying. Otherwise, when the second layer goes over, it's going to strip away the first layer. So, we are not going to do that. So, So for the nose, it has already dried, so you're going to push it here. You can see the paint starts off here, push it down to this point, let it hold, and lift. Sounds like we are conducting an aerobic activity here. Let it hold and lift. Push and hold. Okay, you can see where the cheekbones are. As well as the lips here, the chin. All right, a bit on the side here, the mouth pillar. That's an academic term here. That's the mouth pillar. This is the lip. We can see the top part of the muzzle here. And this is the portion, this is the note. We can let it accumulate, hold, and lift. You can see that the colors are starting to develop, right? The lower part here, up to the chin boss. And I'm going very slow, for I am getting old. Okay. Right, so hopefully we're going to get enough, right, is it much clearer now? And you can see right now the bit of the highlights at the beginning. This is just only the base color. We only applied 2 colors right about here. Now the paint is still wet. I'm not going to agitate this portion. I'm going to put this aside. Okay, so make a mental note of where we left off. Let's revisit the uniform here. Now, as you can see, as it dries, don't be too alarmed to see that it's actually semi-gloss. Don't worry about that. It's satin. Don't worry about that. Okay. Now the thing is that it's relatively scratch resistant. You can see you can hold it, it doesn't strip. And that's what we want for a primer, isn't it? Okay? Now, the thing is that it's also colored. Now, does it work with different colored surfaces? Answer is yes. If it's a dark color, it can also do the same thing. Now, the good thing about this is that if you desire more coverage, you can actually go over the second time. All right, and get a more thorough coverage. So I'm just going to cover everything because the webbing is roughly the same colors as well. So this was this paint here, this marker is called the olive drab. So it's quite close to the 101st Airborne, or rather the U.S. Paratrooper smock. So very quick, dries evenly. Now there's also a reason for the satin. I'm going to show you why the satin is going to work and help us. It is not a drawback, all right, as you may think. All right, so let's put this aside again. Let's relook at this. Okay, you can see it's starting to dry up. Right, you can see that. So we're going to do a bit of the matte varnish. We're going to thin it. Now you'll notice that I'm not used the thinner. I've used the matte varnish. And when I sort of sweep the paint, notice that there are no watermarks. You see, the thing about the matte varnish is that it also serves as a, what they call it, as a painting medium. It also helps to remove watermarks. As you can see, we are applying a very thin film of paint right about here. Now, this sort of effect is reminiscent of what? Oil paint. All right, that is something very interesting. Right now, we are also combining the matte varnish together with the very, very opaque acrylic to convert, what do you call that? A very opaque medium into a translucent medium. And you can see that the result is almost like oil paint. You can look at this. Look at this, look at this, right. Now, you may think that I'm working in oils. No, these are still acrylics. And I am not using new paint. I'm using the same batch of paint. And what I'm doing is I'm stacking All right, I'm actually stacking the paint. Now this is a game changer for a lot of people because this sounds very unorthodox. It is unorthodox because I don't think any publication has actually done anything like this. So ladies and gentlemen, you guys are witnessing history here, I suppose. All right. Sorry to brag. And notice what I'm doing. I am not going over and over and over again the same spot. I'm actually pushing the paint. Now, I want you to imagine washing your toilet floor. All right? Oh, icky toilet floor. All right? With all the gunk and whatnot, you know, human, you know, whatever. All right? I leave it to your imagination what's on your toilet floor. Anyway, we are actually pushing, like washing the toilet floor. We are actually moving paint. Like moving dirt, all right? As you can see right now, this is what we have. And I'm going very slow, very, very slow and gentle. Again, you can see the face is developing. I might even take a bit of flesh tone and even coloring the eyes as well. Now look at my posture, thumb against the wrist, very stable. All right? And just block it in. Yeah. Okay. Nice and easy. Look at that. All right? And we're only looking at two colors. All right? The basalt gray together with the clear red as the base, and as well as the red flash. That's it. All right? This is a light flash. A bit of the ultra matte varnish. This is where the neck is. All right, the sternocleidomastoid muscle here. Look at that. All right, let's put this nice strong muscle here. And we're going very, very nice and slow. The pit of the neck, a bit of the Adam's apple right about here. We can just paint a bit of the color here to represent the masseter right about here. Cheekbone, the zygomatic arch, all right, orbicularis oris, the mouth pillar, and the chin boss. Okay, these are some of the features of the face, the structures of the face. As you can see, I'm just lightly tapping, all right, on the surface here, lightly tapping. We're going gentle. Now, those of you single guys out there, if you're able to master this technique, I can tell you, women, a lot of women out there, you'll be surprised how many women out there will still not go out with you. All right? Okay? Yeah, that's a very redundant joke. All right, so what we're going to do now, we're going to let this set for a while. All right? Okay? We're going to let it set for a while. This is a bit dark. I'm going to show how I'm going to patch this up, so don't worry. All right, there'll be happy accidents, as I said. All right, I myself have two happy accidents at home. One is 14 and one is 16. All right, let's push it up. You can see there's a cheek there, cheekbone putting up. You can see the colors are beginning to develop. Look at that. Okay. Right, you can see, just one sweep. Right, now I'm going to add a bit of clear red together with the light flash. And I'm going to create a very nice pink tone. Now, the reason why I'm not using any of these colors from here, because these are way too opaque. And what they're going to do is they're going to give me a very chalky finish. Now, alternatively, you can use inks that will give you the same effect. But we don't have any inks here, so clear red would actually work just as well, in fact, if not better. So for example, the cheekbones here, let's say for example, you want to give it a bit of rouge, all right, to just add some vitality to this otherwise very, very dull looking face. How do we do it? Very simple. We thin it with a bit of the ultra matte varnish. Now the ultra matte varnish, as I said, will also serve in lieu as the thinner, and that would help us to give us a nice soft effect. So it's almost like putting a veil of paint over the cheekbone here and then pushing it upwards. Pushing it up. Let it gather at this point here. Now, limit the steps. You notice what's happening right now, ladies and gentlemen. No boundaries, no watermarks. It is amazing, you might be asking yourself. Is this possible? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you are seeing it first time live with your own eyes. I'm not David Copperfield or David Blaine. Such a material medium does exist. Okay, can see right now for the lips, just a bit of red. Now what we want is a bit of the translucency for the lips. We're not gonna turn this into something that we don't want to see when we went on our trip to Pattaya. Okay, none of the Pattaya thing we're gonna do. We're gonna make it look as natural as possible. All right, you can see this is the lips, clear red. Okay, no offense to my Thai friends. Okay, I'm just stating what I see. Okay. So don't cancel me, please. All right. So you can see just a light glaze. You can see it's very natural. Look at this side here. 3 sweeps from the side of the brush. You can see the cheekbones. You can see it's actually coming out. You can see some radiant rouge coming out from there. That's what it is. All right. And we are still stuck with the same colors again. Okay. So for the side here, same thing. And again, sweep the paint. That's like you're washing the floor of your bathroom. Look at that. You can see it's no. You see just one sweep. I get a bit of a bounce light here. Now that's by accident. Yeah. And as I said, let's go slow. Right. Okay, let's check in terms of the where we are at the uniform. All right. Now, very simple. We are going to just work with three tones. Highlight, mid-tone, the base color is here. We're just going to work with a bit of a shadow and a bit of the highlight. And at least we're going to just cover that part out. Okay. So let's cut the color for the shadow. All right. A bit of rubber black. I'm going to just throw into this pool of matte varnish. Stir it, give it a nice stir. Maybe a bit of the base color in there. We do not want too dark a shadow. All right, let's see how thick it is. Ooh, still very thick. No good. All right, let's thin it down with a bit of a thinner. Reason because I want this to flow. All right, all over the place, right? I just want it to flow. I just want it to get into the crevices. So, now as we are waiting for this to dry, to set, we look at this, thinner. Now, the purpose of the thinner is to allow the paint to scatter more uniform. You get a more uniform. So what you're going to do is you're going to do a nice wash, a sweep of the color. Look at this. All right? Look at how it scatters. Very nice and even. And the thing is that what is the additive that I've incorporated is the matte varnish. So what you get a nice soft result. Now, those of you guys are spending money, tons of money on contrast paint. This is the hack. Contrast paint is actually matte varnish and ink. Alright, so you can go home and make your own matte varnish and contrast paint just like your kombucha, okay? Same ball game. Okay? Alright, you can go and buy, what do you call that, a ton of this from AK and then squeeze in some of the AK ink and then you can market your own contrast paint also. Okay, now this is some of you guys more enterprising, you want to adopt that, no problem, man. Go Taobao and open your own shop. But in essence, it's basically that's what it is. That is the contrast paint. So today I reviewed something that will probably get me in trouble with some other paint manufacturer. Okay, so anyway, all right, jokes aside, now you can see, all right, with this is what's happening. Okay, let's check in again with the help of the head. All right, you're almost there, okay? If you got low standards, it's pretty much okay already. So, but of course, we are not very low standard people. We are very high class. We are at the St. Gilles, okay? Very prestigious hotel. You're not gonna walk away with something so cheapskate. So let's up the ante a bit on this one, right? That's what we have. We have the highlight, flash highlight, very easy. No need to cut so many colors. All right, squeeze and use. That's all. All right. Okay, just like jam, okay. So you're gonna thin it. So So I'm going to do is I'm going to get a medium tone between the flash highlight and the light flash. All right, this is in between. All right, a middle ground. And what you're going to do, you're going to place some highlights. Same thing, from here, point of origin, push, hold. Okay, berhenti. All right, can see. All right, here, land, hold. Push the paint and let it hold, pinpoint, lift. All right. Okay, so guys, I'm not an aerobics instructor, but I can tell you this is what it is. So we just need to push, go very slowly in one direction. Push down, up to the highlight. Here, we can sweep the paint from here. Again, like sweeping. Up to here. And lift. Very quick. And you can see, no watermarks, ladies and gentlemen. Because we are not using water. Alright? Water 天哪，没有水迹，你看。And you can see, right, you can just a bit of depth for the highlight here for the eyeball. Of course, I think for the eyeballs, you can actually use the scalera, you can actually use something a bit more bluish. But I think for this demonstration, I think just leave it as it is as splash tones for now. Okay, for the lips, you can go back again, revisit a bit on the red, maybe a bit of the base color. Alright, maybe I'll do is, I'll get a bit of a brown in for the lips. Okay, never mind. We'll work with the orange. Clear red. And a bit of the light flash, which is here. Okay. And then back to the highlight again. Then into the matte varnish. Push, hold, lift. Push, hold, and lift. All right, you can see more or less that's there. Okay, oh wow, okay, I only got 4 more minutes only. Okay, I'm going to just speed this up a bit. All right, so you can see one flash tone is up. Part of the torso, this is drying. Okay, we do a bit of wet on wet. Okay, I'm going to speed it up. We're going to go 4 more minutes on the clock. Okay, my parking is due. I need to go off soon. All right. All right, so from here you can see where the sheen is, and from here you can start to push and get the highlights up. So those of you guys that are not believing your eyes what you see on screen, you can come down to the stage here. You can have a look at the results that I've accomplished within this small amount of time, short amount of time rather. Okay, so you can see it just lift, and again, everything has all been tempered with the ultra matte varnish. All right. Yep, have a look. Okay, so, yep.
Excellent, right?
What?
With the clear color.
So I'm actually adding a bit of highlight to this. This is a bit of wet on wet. Now it's a bit premature to add the highlights actually, so I'm just not going to disturb it anymore. So if you guys want to have a look in terms of what can be developed from this, right? Well, we can do this offline, given the time that we have at the moment. Okay, so I hope it's convincing enough for you guys to understand, right? Basically, you got two range of products just to basically wrap this all up. All right, AK is a couple of what you call the auxiliary products. The thinner to help to scatter the paint and let the paint flow into the crevices, and to transform your paint, acrylic paint, into enamel. All right, and of course the ultra matte varnish to help you to make turn the paint into give it a more translucent quality. And you can see it looks it shows up very nicely in terms of the flesh tones here. Okay, so on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we still got a minute more. So if you guys have any questions, we can discuss online. Thank you guys for your attention and have a great evening today. Thank you very much. All to you now, Chris. Where's Chris? Chris, my man.
What are you waiting for? Slap the shit out of that button.